Welcome to the video on graphing cubic and cube root functions. This video will show you how to graph a cube root function. So for our first graph, we're just going to graph the parent. And I'm going to plug in numbers into the cube root of x. Okay, so I'm going to start with 0, because I know the cube root of 0 is just 0. So let's try some numbers that will cube root. So let's start with 8. So just like the cube functions, I'm going to do 3 because I need a negative and a positive. The cube root of negative 8 is going to give me negative 2, and the cube root of 8 will give me 2. Okay, so this looks good because if I go even higher than that, the next cube root I get is a negative 27, and those are with whole numbers, of course. I could do fractions and things like that if I wanted to do like the cube root of 1/8, okay? But in this case, let's just stick with these three numbers, okay? So we've got 0, 0, okay, and let's see, negative 8, comma, negative 2. So negative 8, negative 2 is going to be right here, and 8, comma 2 is going to be right there. Okay. The cube root function is actually an inverse of the cube function. So it's going to look like this. It has the same type of curve, but it's actually in the opposite direction. Okay, let me go and put the cube function here. See, the cube function comes up like this and goes like that. So see how it's an inverse? Because it's being reflected across the y equals x. Okay, so y equals x is this line right there. Oops. Okay, so let's go on and talk about graphing cube root functions with a translation. For number 2, we have a cube root that is going to be shifted. Remember that this shift right here is going to be opposite, so it's left 2, and this one is going to just be positive is up, negative is down. So this one, since it's outside of the square root, is going to be down 1. Okay, so what I like to do is go ahead and just take this out because I know I'm going to shift at the end. So let's put in our numbers again. Since this is just a cube root of x, I'm going to do negative 8 and 8, and that'll give me negative 2 and positive 2, and of course 0, 0. Okay, so then I'm going to go in and put in my points. So 0, 0 will be at 0, 0, 8, comma 2, and negative 8, comma 2. Okay, now I'm going to shift them. Okay, so let's go left 2. Let's put me off my graph a little bit. Left 2 and down 1. So I'm going to be left 2, down 1 here. I'll take that one off. Okay, left 2, down 1 here. There's my center point. Right there. And then left 2, down 1 right here. Okay, remember the graph of a cubic looks like this. Okay, and that is how you graph a cube root with the translation of left 2, down 1. Alright, let's try the next problem. In this graph, we have a vertical stretch or compression based on the 1/2. Okay, so I'm going to use my same numbers. I've got -8, 0, and 8. Okay, now the reason why I'm using them is because that when I do the -8, well, let's start with positive. If I do the 8, the cube root of 8 is going to be 2. And I know that 2 divisible by 2 or times 1/2 is just going to give me 1. So let me say it again. This is the cube root of 8, which is 2, and then times 1/2 is going to give me 1. Okay? So the reason why I'm doing 8 is because it works well with 2, because I want whole numbers. Okay? So 0, cube root of 0 is 0, 0 times 1/2 is 0, and -8, cube root of -8 is going to be -2, and -2 times 1/2 is -1. Okay? So when I go to graph this and plot these points, I've got 0, 0, 8, comma 1, and -8, comma -1 is about right there. Okay? Notice that the 1/2 has basically stretched it along the x-axis. So this is more of a horizontal stretch going this way. Okay? So I'm going to go graph it. Right there. Okay, that is the graph for, let's see here, I think I made a mistake. This needs to be the graph of number 3. Let's change this to number 3. Okay, so now let's do the next graph. For our next graph, we're going to do the cube root of 1/2 x. This means now that the 1/2 is inside of the cube root, or the radical, with the x. This is a horizontal stretch or compression. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to pick 0, 0 again. Okay, plug in 0, you get 0. Okay, if you plug in 1, you're going to get 1/2. So let's pick a number that will give us a good cube root. So let's use 16, and then I'll show you how we're going to graph it. Because 16 divided by 2 is going to give me 8, and the cube root of 8 is going to be 2. Okay, so -16 will give me a -8. Cube root of -8 is -2. Okay, and on our graph, we're going to count by 2's. Okay, you won't always have big numbers like this because it's not always going to be a 1/2 inside the radical. All right, so -16 will be -2 right there, and then +16 will be +2 right there, with our 0, 0 in the middle. Okay, and then we'll graph that like that. Okay, so we have the graph of our cube root function with a 1/2 inside the radical. That's it for this video, and thanks for watching.